Looking today at safe bed sharing. Now, the American Academy of Pediatrics, I'm based in the US, American Academy of Pediatrics, the NHS, and the Australian Health Service all suggest room sharing with your child for the first 12 months, but not sharing a surface with your child. But now the American Academy of Pediatrics are understanding that parents are likely to fall asleep with their child in their bed because they're bringing their child in their bed to feed during the night. And when you're just that tired, you are likely to fall asleep. And because bed sharing has been a very taboo subject, that it is not suggested that it happen, and so there's been no advice from the American Academy of Pediatrics on how to make it safe. And then when you inadvertently fall asleep with your child during the night, then chances are it's not in a safe space, because we're not talking about what is safe. If you do fall asleep with your child whilst you're feeding during the night, or you just plan on bed sharing. So we want to actually look at making this a safe space. And I always suggest families do this, even if they have no intention of bed sharing, because it may actually be that whilst you are feeding during the night, you do fall asleep, and you want to make sure that the space is really safe for that. It's actually safer for your child to be in a bed, your bed, than you falling asleep on a couch or a recliner or something like that. So it would be better if there's that even the slightest possibility that you're going to fall asleep, that you are in your bed than on a recliner or on a couch or on a chair, because you think that that's going to keep you awake. If you recline back, you're comfy on the couch, you're likely to fall asleep, and that is a much more unsafe environment than actually being in your bed. So I'm going to go through some things which make this space safe for your child to be sleeping there, if you just accidentally happens, or if this is your plan. So first off, you want both parents to be really comfortable with this. Both parents need to be on board, just to make that super safe space. So if your partner isn't, then maybe they can sleep somewhere else whilst this is kind of, if you're planning on bed sharing. But it just means that it's just safer if everybody is kind of comfortable, they know what's happening and what to expect during the night. One parent does need to be a breastfeeding parent. The connection that a breastfeeding parent has and a child, when you observe them sleeping together, it's actually fascinating. They are in tune. Their sleep cycles are completely in tune. Another reason that this is better is because a breastfeeding infant is lower down, and that is a better position as well, being that bit lower down. A mother will kind of cocoon as well, sort of do the C thing around, where they're sort of just sort of like knees up, and they're protecting their child as well. Is actually super fascinating to watch. If you ever get the opportunity to you see a video or something, definitely watch it. It's super fascinating. So one of the parents does need to be breastfeeding. Your child should be full term, no preemies, should be bed sharing at all. You want to keep pillows and blankets away from your child. So if you do need any covers, then they're just going to be up to your hips or up to your waist. You're not going to be pulling them right up. They do need to be really low, far down. And then as well, you don't want any excess pillows or anything like that in the space at all. The mattress needs to be really firm. So, I mean, we're not talking like a board, but it needs to be a firm mattress. So no water beds. I mean, is there anybody actually who is still using a water bed? Probably not. But just in case there is somebody out there and you have a water bed, you shouldn't be bed sharing with your child. And honestly, let me know if you do have a water bed. I am super interested in what it is like to sleep on a water bed, having never done it. Anyway, Tempur-Pedic mattresses are not good for bed sharing. A lot of people have these, but the way that they work is they kind of, that you sink into it and it contours to you. That is not safe for your child, because they are then, if they roll onto their tummy, that's just really not safe. So not a Tempur-Pedic or a memory foam or anything like that. You want a firm mattress. Baby should be positioned between breastfeeding parent and either a wall or a bed rail. So not between parents, because the other person who's in the bed does not have that kind of connection thing that's going on with, as the breastfeeding parent has. So you want to have a bed rail or the bed up against a wall, so that, baby's just not rolling out and then it's just the breastfeeding parent who is there. This can get a little bit tricky. I totally admit that this can get tricky if you're trying to kind of swap sides, because a lot of times what parents will do is they'll roll over and bring baby over to the other side, because it's then easier to feed on the other breast. So that can be a little bit tricky, and if that is the case, then you may want to make sure that your partner is not in the bed, or you may figure out another way to make that work. Sitting up is a possibility for feeds during the night. Not at all fun, because what we love about bed sharing is that ease of feeding. But you should have then a bed rail or against a wall, and you want to make sure that there are no gaps at all between the headboard and the mattress, or the wall and the mattress, or the bed rail and the mattress, or anywhere. You do not want anywhere that your child can roll into and get stuck. We want this to be sort of very kind of well fitting, the same way as we do with a crib. The mattress fits incredibly well. We want exactly the same for your bed, that the mattress fits incredibly well and there are no gaps whatsoever anywhere around. You want to keep, if you have long hair, you want to keep that tied back. A lot of times that's something that people don't think of, but you want to keep long hair tied back just because it is safer. And then if you do have any ties or anything that are on your PJs, or you're wearing a sweater or whatever, that they are not there, because you don't want anything long loose in the bed at all, just because that is a strangulation risk, and we just want to kind of minimize that. We don't want to have any siblings or pets in the bed either, because they don't have the same thing going on that their breastfeeding parent has, and so we want to make sure that they are not in the bed at all either if you're bed sharing with an infant. A lot of times families will just put their mattress on the floor, because then there's that, the rolling out risk is minimized. It's just not as far down. So sometimes people will just put a mattress on the floor when they're planning on bed sharing, and that may really work for you. Just trying to make sort of things as easy as possible and as safe as possible. It may not be ideal, but safety kind of just is going to top what your bedroom looks like and all of these things. You may not want a bed rail. I get that. That makes getting in and out of bed tricky. You may not want your bed to be up against a wall. That makes getting in and out of bed tricky. But the safety of your child is paramount here. It really is. There are some times when you should not be bed sharing. So if you have been drinking or taking any drugs, then you should not be bed sharing with your child at all. If you have been smoking, you should not be bed sharing with your child at all. If you smoked during pregnancy, you should also not be bed sharing then either, because that does increase the risk of SIDS. And so we just want to make sure your child is sleeping in a super, super safe space. Then if you've taken anything that will make you sleep a little deeper than you necessarily normally would. So this could be any medication or something that is likely to make you drowsy. It's the medication that says that you shouldn't operate heavy machinery or drive something like that. Then if your medication says that, you should not be bed sharing with your child either. And that goes then for the other person who is in bed as well. Even if you've got baby wall, you should even then, if you're the other person who is in the bed has been drinking or smoking or they're taking something, then they should not be in the bed. Again, we just want to make sure that this is super, super safe. If you are, and this is kind of a silly one because I always feel a bit silly saying this, but if you are so exhausted, and of course you're a parent, you're exhausted, but if you are so exhausted that you are just don't think that you're going to rouse, you're not going to kind of wake up, then you want to make sure then that you're not bed sharing. Sleeping next to your child with them on a different sleep surface is completely fine, but you just want to make sure that if you're that exhausted that you are not bed sharing with your child. And if you are not the mother, you shouldn't be. So you want to have that kind of breastfeeding parent who is there. Sleeping on a bed, so feeding as well at night on your bed rather than a chair or recliner is so much safer because you are likely to fall back asleep because of just what breastfeeding does. It's just super relaxing. It's nighttime. It's dark. You're tired. So it is safer that you bring your child into your bed than you feed them on a recliner or a chair because you think that you're going to stay awake. You may well stay awake, but you may not. And if you don't, then that really increases the risk of suffocation if you fall asleep and your child falls asleep on a recliner or on the couch, or even if you sat like on your dining room chair thinking, being upright, I'm going to stay awake. There's that kind of level of exhaustion that we have as parents where you can kind of fall asleep anywhere. So really making sure that you're feeding your child during the night in a safe space in case you do then fall asleep, then you know that you are minimizing those risks.